It was a quiet evening when I first saw him, a tiny, scruffy fox cub stumbling across the path in front of our house. His fur was a bit ruffled, and he looked lost, frightened, and terribly alone. I crouched down instinctively, unsure what he might do. But instead of running away, he came closer, his amber eyes wide and trusting. Something about his gaze touched me deeply. Without much thought, I reached out my hand, and to my surprise, he nuzzled it gently. I couldn't leave him there. Bringing a wild animal into a home isn't something you plan, but he followed me, step by step, all the way to my doorstep. As I opened the door, he hesitated for a moment, then darted in as though he'd lived there his entire life. That night, I made him a warm bed with an old blanket and gave him some food. He curled up quietly, his tiny body finally at peace. As the days turned into weeks, the little fox, whom I named Finn, began to grow, not just in size, but in personality. He was endlessly curious and incredibly intelligent. He quickly figured out where I kept the food and how to open the fridge with his snout and paws. One day, I walked into the kitchen to find the refrigerator door wide open and Finn with his face deep in a leftover roast. When I called his name, he looked up with the most innocent expression, as if to say, "I have no idea how this happened." That face, it always got me. His mischief didn't stop there. My slippers, once neatly placed beside the bed, were now regularly found shredded under the sofa or buried in the backyard. When I scolded him, he'd look at me with wide, teary eyes, his ears lowered and tail tucked. He knew exactly how to melt a heart. Despite the chaos, or maybe because of it, Finn became the heart of my home. I had never imagined a fox could become such a dear companion. He would curl up on the couch next to me in the evenings, rest his head on my lap, and let out soft, contented sighs. On colder nights, he'd sneak under the blanket and fall asleep by my feet, like a devoted pet. There's a kind of magic in the bond formed with a creature that comes to you on its own terms. Finn wasn't born into my family, but he chose us, and in doing so, he gave me a sense of joy and wonder I hadn't felt in years. His playful antics, his clever tricks, and his silent understanding reminded me that love doesn't always come wrapped in familiar shapes. It can arrive in a russet coat, with sharp eyes and a bushy tail. He may have come to me by accident, but Finn was no mistake. He filled a space in my life I didn't know was empty, and in return, I gave him a home and all my heart.